For length, these are the units we use in the US. We use a foot, and 1 foot is equal to what? How many inches in a foot? 12 inches. We also use a yard. 1 yard is equal to what? 3 feet. Good. And how many inches that is? 36 inches. We also use the mile. The mile has, by the way, these are right here on that cheat sheet I gave you. See them, all these? So the mile has 1770 yards, which is also 5,280 feet. So that's what we use for length. When you're measuring the length of something, we're either going to use inches, feet, yards, miles. That's what we use for US units. Now, if you were measuring the weight, how heavy something is, like your car. For weight, we use tons and pounds. 1 ton is equal to what? 2,000 pounds. So if you have a car that weighs a ton, that means it weighs 2,000 pounds. If your truck weighs 2 tons, that's 4,000 pounds. We also use pounds. A pound is how many ounces? 16 ounces. Unless it's coffee. In coffee, every bag it says 1 pound in it, but guess what? There's 12 ounces in it. They lie to us. It used to be 16 ounces can of coffee. Now everything is 12. For volume or capacity, this is the volume. If you're into cooking, you're in luck here. 1 gallon is how many quarts? 4 quarts. QT. 1 quart is how many pints? 2 pints. 1 pint is equal what? Two cups. C for cups, so this is cups here. And what's a 1 cup? How many ounces in a cup? 8. So a gallon is 4 quarts. A quart is 2 pints. A pint is 2 cups. A cup is 8 ounces. Now, the other unit we use is for time. When you're measuring time, we use year. 1 year is equal to what? 365 days. We also use 1 year. How many months in a year? 12 months. MO for months. 1 year has how many weeks? 52 weeks. 1 week has how many days? Those are 7 days, right? Those we don't have to worry about, we know them. 1 day has how many hours? 24 hours. 1 hour has 60 minutes. And 1 minute has 60 seconds. So this is what we use in terms of units in the US. And today's topic is really how do you go from one unit to another? How do you change them? How do you convert them? We'll take some examples and go through them. Changing units. On that handout, we're only dealing with length, so I only gave you these. Now we're talking about weight, capacity, time. Again, you don't have to memorize these. If you memorize them, great. If you know 1 gallon's 4 quarts, 1 quart is 2 pints, 1 pint's 2 cups, 1 cup is 8 ounces. If you do cooking, that helps you because you'll see in the recipe it says add 3 cups of sugar, add 2 quarts of this. Well, what's a quart? 2 pints. What's a pint? 2 cups. So a quart actually is 4 cups. So let's see about changing units. We'll start with the length first. I'm going to show you a way to change them that will help you actually with all these problems. So let me begin by saying, let's say I have 210 yards. And the question is, how many feet that is?
600 feet.
600?
I thought it was 210.
Okay.
So you divide it by 3.
Yep. So a lot of times people are not sure, should I divide or multiply? That's where the confusion comes in. Do I divide? We know the yard has 3 feet, but do I divide by 3 or multiply by 3? I can help you actually make life easy on that with that one. Make it a fraction. Make it over 1. You want to go from yard to feet. Here we go. I'm going to multiply it. Always multiplication. Yard to feet. But there is a trick. Notice yard where? On the top? So you're going to put yard on the bottom and you want feet on the top. Why do we want yard on the bottom? Anyone knows why I put yard on the bottom, not on the top? Because I want to change my unit to what? To feet? That means I need to cancel the yards. The only way they'll cancel if one on the top, one on the bottom. That's the only way you can cancel something. If you have the same thing on the top and the bottom. So now let's look at that cheat sheet. And it says 1 yard has how many feet? 3. Let's put these numbers. 1 yard has 3 feet. Now you have 2 fractions. How do you multiply them? The top times the top over the bottom times the bottom. So what's 210 times 3? 630 over 1 times 1, which is 1. That's what? 630 feet. That applies for anything we need to do. If I said to you, I have a distance of 0.6 miles, now I want you to give me that in feet. .6 miles to feet. Here we go. 0.6 miles over 1. Multiply it by. Here I have miles on the top. That means I need miles where? On the bottom, feet on the top. 1 mile has how many feet? 5,280. The miles will cancel each other out. I'll cheat here. What's 0.6 times 5,280? 3168 divided by 1 times 1, which is 1. 3168 feet. Are we good there? How about 210, or you know what? 420 feet. Change it to yards. $420 change it to yards. Again, make it a fraction. 420 feet over what? Over 1 times. Feet on the top, so I need feet on the bottom, yards on the top. 1 yard has how many feet? 3. $420 times 1 is $420 divided by 1 times 3, which is 3. Go to the side and divide them. 1 times 3 is 3. 12 by 3 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Bring that 0 down. 0 by 3, which is 0. That's equal to 140 yards. So notice I never have to think, is it multiplication, is it division, what do I do now?
When you're doing feet to yards, isn't it just easier to divide it by 3 from the get-go?
Feet to yard, correct, yep. But if you understand this method, watch. I don't even have to explain for the other units. 5 quarts to pints. We're going to do them the same way. That's why I'm trying to push this method. So I'll make that a fraction, 5 quarts over 1 times. Now I need to find, since quart on the top, I need quart where? On the bottom, pint on the top. Let me go to my unit here. 1 quart has how many pints? 2. So 1 quart has how many pints? 2. So do we divide or multiply now? It looks like we're multiplying. 5 times 2, 10 over 1, which is what? 10 pints. If I have 24 minutes, and I want to change that to hours. (24 minutes over 1, multiply it by minutes on the top, so I want minutes on the bottom, hours on the top. 1 hour has how many minutes? 60. (24 times 1, 24 over 60. Now can we simplify that? By 6, right? By 6 this is what? 4. By 6 this is 10. Can we simplify again? By 2 that will make it what? How about 2/5, right? 2/5 of an hour. Or 0.4 hours. If you want to divide them, you go 2 divided by 5. You can, there's your decimal point, add zeros. So 2 you can't. 20 by 5, which is what? 4. 4 times 5 is 20. So that's 0.4 hour. Doesn't matter what the units are. How about 2 pounds and 15 ounces? Can I change that to ounces? You have 2 pounds and 15 ounces. Let's go back here. A pound has how many ounces?
16.
16. See that one? A pound has 16 ounces. Let's change the 2 pounds. That's not 21. That's 2 pounds. Let's take the 2 pounds, change them to ounces, then we'll add the 15. 2 pound, that's over 1. I want pounds on the bottom, ounces on the top. 1 pound is what? 16? Two times 16, 32 over 1, which is what? 32 ounces. That's just the 2 pounds. So what is 2 pounds and 15 ounces? That's 32 plus the 15, which is what? 47 ounces. So this number is only the 2 pounds. I get more than 2 pounds. 15 ounces more than the 2 pounds. So I get 47 ounces. Let's try another one. Let's say you have 271 minutes, and I said, change that to hours and minutes. Hours and minutes. I don't like 271. Tell me how many hours, how many minutes? I showed MIN, otherwise MI means mile, minutes. You know? 271 minutes. If you change it to hours, let's see. 271 minutes. Trying to keep my color code the same today. That's over 1. To change it to hours, we're going to multiply. Here we go. We need minutes on the bottom, hours on the top. 1 hour has how many minutes? 60. $271 times 1? 271 over what? 60. And let's divide that. What is 271 divided by 60? Could it be 4 maybe? 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6, 24, 240. 0 from 1 is 1. 4 from 7, which is what? 3. So how many hours do we have? 4 hours. And how many minutes? 31 minutes. Four hours and 31 minutes. McDonald. Let's try to add now. Let's say you have a piece of wood, 2 pieces of wood, One of them is 7 feet 9 inches. And the other one you put right next to it. You're doing a floor in the house. So that's the first piece. The other one is 2 feet 5 inches. You're doing hardwood floor. So what is the length of that floor? From here to here. What is that length? That's what we're looking for. So what do? We have two pieces. One was 7 feet 9 inches, the other one 2 feet 4 inches. Do we subtract them, multiply them, add them, divide them? What do? Add them. 7 feet 9 inches. Add to it, notice 2 feet 4 inches. When you add the inches, what do we have? Is that 13? When you add the feet, what do you have? 9. But there's a little problem with that 13 inch. That's more than a foot. That's a foot and 1 inch. So now I can take 1 foot, add it to this, and that will make it what? 10 feet and 1 inch. Because the 13 inches, 1 foot and 1 inch, that foot comes and you add it to this one. Or you decided to take a road trip, and I'll use me for an example. Friday afternoon I drove to Colgate, New York, a little bit far from here. And it took me 3 hours and 49 minutes to drive to Colgate from Springfield. I watched my daughter play her hockey game. They won. After that, we had to get in the car and drive to Cornell because next day they're going to play Cornell. The second trip to Cornell, it took 1 hour and 41 minutes or 42 minutes, I don't know. Took a little bit over an hour and a half, so I know someone in that neighborhood. So how long did I drive on Friday? So this is from Springfield to Colgate, and this was from Colgate to Cornell, because next morning she was playing a game at Cornell. So how long did I drive? Not how far, how long time-wise? Well, we can add the hours and we can add the minutes. The hours are what? 4 hours. And how many minutes? 2 and 9? 11, that's 91 minutes. Now 91 minutes is more than an hour. An hour and 31 minutes, right? So that if I take a 1 to this side, it took me 5 hours I drove and 31 minutes. Because if you take 91 and divide it by 60, you will have 1 times 60 is 60, the remainder is 31. So it's 1 hour, this is hour here, and this is the 31 minutes. So when you take that 1 hour, add it to the 4 hours, you end up with the 5 hours and the 31 minutes. This is ATCH unit conversion for section 10.1.